page in her speech. I forgot to get her time cards.
Tribute to Garden.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, the speech I have for you today is a little different from my norm. This is a speech I'm working on to do at the international competition for my other club. That takes place February 2nd. So I'm working on it now to get it ready for February 2nd. Hence, I will be reading my speech today. I still welcome, obviously, all feedback so that I can hopefully compete with it in a month. Would you like to see my petunias? My mom used to ask. Her face would glow like that of a child on Christmas morning. My mom had many skills, but gardening was her passion. I marveled at the amount of work she invested in her flowers, bushes, and vegetables. When my mom was 35, a degenerative disease took root inside her. That disease would spend the next 15 years methodically ravaging her body and destroying her quality of life. As Mom's health deteriorated, gardening became more and more difficult for her. Within a few years, she could no longer garden on her own. Still, she insisted on gardening. She needed me to do the physical labor. She would sit in a lawn chair, in later years a wheelchair, and patiently instruct me. One day, I asked my mom why we always put 3 or 4 seeds into each hole. She explained that most seeds will not germinate, and of those that do, many will still not grow into plants. One humid afternoon while we were gardening, Mom asked me to go inside and bring her some water. When I returned with a glass of water, I saw her trying to get out of her wheelchair to stand up. I was annoyed that my mom was trying to do something so dangerous. She could easily fall and get injured. As she struggled to rise from her wheelchair, I rushed at her and I shouted at her, "Stop, Mom, stop! What are you doing?" She fell back into her wheelchair and began to cry. Through her tears, she said, "I just wanted to see my vegetables." I had left her wheelchair facing away from the vegetable garden. Suddenly I felt ashamed for having yelled at my mother. I collapsed onto my knees and I laid my head on Mom's lap as lightly as I could to avoid hurting her fragile body. My mother and I held each other and wept bitterly. A few years later, my mom died at the age of 50. What my mom cultivated in me was an understanding of the value of working tirelessly for what you love, regardless of reward. Years ago, my mom would sow many seeds, knowing that most of them would die early deaths. Today, I fill pages and pages of notebooks with words, knowing that most of those words will never be read or heard by anybody except me. But every once in a while, one of those seeds on one of those pages germinates. Soon, a tiny green shoot pokes its way through the dirt. Later, the shoot grows into a plant. And still later, after a lot of sweat and a little luck, the plant produces a bright, full-fledged flower. And then, pleased and proud, I ask my loved ones, would you like to hear the new speech I'm working on? Thank you very much.